Welcome to Healing the Spirit, a space where we awaken our creativity, deepen our connections, and remember who we are through the lens of astrology, archetypes, and art making. I'm your host, Jonathan Coe. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this podcast. I want to share a brief episode where I introduce a new series that I'm doing on the podcast for 2026. The series is called Inside the 10th House. In astrology, the 10th house has to do with career, public-facing work, reputation, and our influence on the world at large. In other words, the 10th house is where we make our mark on the world. If you have sat with me in sessions, I like to use this analogy of the 10th house as the energy that a musician emanates when they go on stage. So imagine you sitting in the audience, in the concert hall or the concert venue, and then the musician walks on stage and there's this energy that their aura radiates. Some musicians have really big, larger than life, explosive aura. Others have warm, welcoming, soothing aura. And others have compact, incisive aura that draws you in. This 10th house energy is something that we perceive from the audience's side, right? But very often, I wonder what it would feel like to be on stage with them. Is it going to feel similar to when I'm sitting as an audience? Is it going to be different? And this conversation series is going to explore that. I want to invite people from different walks of life. They're going to be mostly practitioners, artists, writers, musicians, creatives. But I'm also open to people who are doing other types of work, who are also open to talking about things related to astrology. And what I want to do is to interview them about their internal experience and their process of birthing that work into the world, which is why I named it Inside the 10th House. I got this imagery of myself going to someone's 10th house space. Some might look like a lighthouse, others look like a tent or maybe a pyramid, and then sitting with them and having a chat, having a cup of tea or coffee, talking about what it's like for them, what is their internal experience occupying that 10th house space that is really unique to them. And the conversation, of course, is going to revolve around astrology, but it's not going to be coming from a technical perspective. Rather, I want it to be a really spacious place where people can talk about their work and what it feels like to steward this work in a way that feels relaxed, open, and candid. And I want to share a little bit about how the idea came to me. The idea for the series came when I was interviewing Lisa Quigley. Some of you know Lisa as the Glitch Witch, and Lisa is an incredible multimodality oracular artist. This conversation is, by the way, going to come out very soon. It's going to be the first one in the series. And you will hear that I came into the conversation pretty much with a single intention, which was to be fully present, to be fully attuned, and just to create the kind of space that encourages and allows Lisa to share whatever feels relevant about her work at the moment. And pretty much instantly, our conversation blossomed into an interview where we talk about Lisa's internal experience bringing her work into the world. And it was really moving for me to listen to her and to attune to her experiences in that moment, because so often we don't get that view, right? Even as, practitioners who speak very authentically, we don't always get a deep and intimate look into how someone relates to their work. We usually get the results, right? We get the end product of their contemplation, of their struggles, of their insights, and we get the kind of integrated product. But in this conversation, Lisa was so incredibly generous in allowing me to have deep and intimate access to where she's currently at with her process, and to ask her precise and really probing questions about where she's at. And halfway through, I heard this phrase, inside the 10th house, and immediately it became clear to me, this is the next chapter in the evolution of the conversations I want to have with people on this podcast. So let me talk a little bit about what I hope to accomplish with this series. In the past 6 years, I've been part of this community, mostly online, of conscious humans who are interested in exploring the big questions in life. Questions like, who are we? How do we walk our own unique, creative, and spiritual life? What are some of the tools? What are some of the perspectives and insights that can help us in that process? And one of the patterns that I constantly observe is that across the board, the process of birthing and stewarding their work is challenging for everyone. No matter how easy it looks on the outside looking in, when you get close enough to the person, it is not easy. And I have a few suspicions about why this is. The first one is that, and probably the primary one, is that I think creative and spiritual work, by definition, resists templates. It's not linear, it's not predictable, and it requires the ability to deeply listen. Not just to what you want internally, but also what you know will be of service to the world that you live in. And in my own process, I personally go through so many ups and downs with the process of putting out my work into the world. And at the core of my sufferings, there are a couple problems that I've identified. The first one is when something goes wrong, it's easy to believe that it's a sign for you to quit instead of the alternative, which is maybe you need to take a break. Maybe you need to be patient. Maybe you need to cultivate some skills. And I found that time and time again, that moment right before the next breakthrough, things tend to get extremely hard. Financially, in terms of the body, sometimes the body just breaks. In terms of the emotional experience, in terms of relational tension, things just get really bleak and really dark before the light comes back in. And when you deepen into your own unique expressions, this process of essentially individuating in your work can feel absolutely horrible, because suddenly there was a template that used to work, right? There were these boxes that you could fit into. Like for me, maybe it's like, oh yeah, I know how to be an astrologer because my teachers show up in a certain way. Or I know how to be a musician because these are the kinds of musicians that I see out there. And when you are really allowing yourself to be deeply connected and on the pulse with what your work is actually asking of you, all of that starts to fall away. And then you find yourself in this place where there's no clear path forward. The only thing you can do is to deeply listen to what's next. And the second problem I find is that we don't always have exposure to other people's stories that mirror our own stories. And when you hear other people's stories and some aspects of their journey mirror the challenges that you face and the gifts that you have, you will pretty quickly realize that it's not like the path is broken or there's something wrong with you, but it's actually a matter of finding ways to keep going. When you create a product or a service and nobody buys from you, or you create a project and nobody listens or supports the project, it's so easy to just give up. It's so easy to take that as a sign that you have failed. And it's actually a sign that you're meant to go deeper. And sometimes going deeper will lead you into the evolution of your work, which might look completely different than what you had initially imagined it to be. And the paradox is that it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy if you decide to quit, because then everything is truly over, right? If you no longer want to put any time or effort or energy into it, then it's really dead, you know? And I'm kind of laughing here, but I hope you feel the saltiness and maybe a little bit of a pang of regret for the moments where I've quit the things that I know I deeply love. I've quit so many projects. I've, gotten off so many creative paths in my life. And looking back, what I wished is that somebody would not only give me the permission to not give up and maybe give me the good advice to just take a break or spend some time away, but somebody who also can point me to resources where I can maybe get exposure to other people's stories that mirror my own, other people that can share with me some words of wisdom, or even a silent transmission of I've been where you are, because I think that can make all the difference between us quitting the things that we love because we believe we're not getting enough validation for it, or it's not working, or whatever it is, right? Between that and actually continuing to keep going and maybe let yourself fall more deeply into the mystery of what your work actually wants to be. So my hope is that these conversations will give you the inspiration and the encouragement to keep going, to know that maybe this practitioner or this teacher or this artist, this writer that you deeply admire and for whom, when you look from the outside, it might look like everything's going really well for this person. And I want you to know that they also face their challenges, and maybe in being exposed to that will help you keep going, even for a few extra months, because you never know. That breakthrough might just be right around the corner for you. And we all need you to arrive at that unique 10th house expression that only you can embody and only you can steward. All right, I will end this episode here. As I said, I promise to keep it brief. And so, by way of announcement, if you would like to financially support the creation of this podcast, I encourage you to head on over to my Substack, which is jonathancoofficial.substack.com/subscribe, and sign up to become a paying subscriber. It's really valuable, and I am so appreciative to everybody who decided to become a paying subscriber, because it really does make a difference in the continuation of this podcast. And also, if you become a subscriber, you get access to, you get first access to any posts, any writings that I'm currently creating. And also, I plan to share private podcast episodes that are only available for paying subscribers. So if that sounds interesting to you, if you think, 1 or 2 extra episodes in a month will be beneficial and that you would love that, you can subscribe for $5 a month or $50 a year. You can also support the podcast by leaving a review or sharing these episodes so that more people can find them. Okay, thank you for being here. I am sending you so much love, and I will see you very soon for the first conversation in the series with Lisa Quigley. Okay, take care, everyone.